Welcome to Super Cast Brothers, the show where people cannot follow prompts and point at people instead of just waving their arms around like wacky inflatable flying balloon man.
I think what we could do is we could play that Mario Party minigame where it's
Oh God. I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Listener. We've got Donkey Man over here, Jonno, otherwise known as Please Your God, behave tonight. We have returning guests again. He won't leave. Eebit, Mr. Canada, right there. He's got the ass for it. You know it. Just ask and he'll show it. And then we have a green face. A green face with hands connected to its face. I don't know what the fuck that's all about.
You asked me to point. I'm pointing. Hi,
that's
I'm Kellan.
True. I'm just concerned about how that's your face.
We don't talk about that since the accident.
I'm sorry. I forgot. That's on me. How much do I do this time?
I'll think on it.
Fuck. Anywho, we are here to talk about stuff. Yeah, we're here.
And things, even.
Yeah, stuff and things, and what's it, and who's it, and whatchamacallits. Really the whole kit and caboodle, if you want to be honest about it. But it's an on-topic episode. And that means that we got to talk about ourselves a little bit first. And I don't feel like doing it first. So I'm going to make Mr. Eebit start us off. What's going on in your life? How's things going, Mr. Canada?
I'm intrigued about this title that I've inherited about being Mr. Canada. Yeah. Hey, gang.
I'm doing. I mean, you said you haven't watched a lot of the Marvel stuff, so I've now decided that you are the equivalent to Captain America because you've got Canada's ass.
Captain
and
Canada.
If you had kept up with the movies, you would get that joke, but you don't.
Yep. Okay. Just goes over my head. Maybe catch me in 3 years when we revisit this episode, and maybe I've caught up. I won't probably. Yeah. So I guess what's new with me, man? I have not been watching Marvel movies.
Clearly.
But I have been. It's not quite the holidays yet, but we're getting ready. There's some snow falling outside in America's hat here. We're hanging out. And I guess like new things that I've been up to. I've been playing some Tunic, which is kind of a fun little Zelda-like game, which I've been really digging. It's kind of inspired pretty. It's a lot of homages to A Link to the Past, which is one of my favorite Zelda games. So in the spirit of On Topic, I would like to plug Tunic, which I've been really enjoying. Lots of fun, cute graphics, and the music are excellent. And then there's a really cool, like, no spoilers, but like there's a cool like diegetic way of like the world being explored. Like you get like an in-game instruction manual to teach you how to play. Like you can pretty much do anything from the outset, but you wouldn't know to do so until you have the instruction manual. So kind of gives you the spirit of like a very old classic Zelda game.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, a few of you have tried to force me to play that game a couple times. It's never done well in the poll, though.
And me.
Yeah, shame, because I actually have been really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a Zelda-like. If you're watching this video, that might be you.
It might be.
It's definitely me.
I've wanted to try, like, I looked into it ages ago, and I thought, oh, that absolutely sounds up my alley, but I just have not really had time for games lately, so it hasn't happened yet, but maybe
that's
soon.
Understandable. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Jake, does the clock in your bedroom make bird sounds on the hour?
A broken clock, much like myself, is right twice a day.
You have a broken clock that's hanging up in your room.
It's not my room. This is the office in our house. But yeah, it's a clock actually that Lister gave me a few years ago, and battery died.
Nice.
We'll fix it. Yeah, that ain't birds. I know what that is.
It's funny. I actually
it's far
got called
away and
out.
blurry, so I couldn't quite tell at first.
Oh, I'll pull it up.
And I was like, wait a minute. I know that 7.
Yeah, It's the first 12 Final Fantasy logos. I can go
Final
grab it in a
Fantasy
second.
clock.
Hold it up.
Hell yeah.
And then on the other side, you can also kind of see it. I have a poster which I got from Jonno, so it's lots
Yeah,
of
he does.
gifts from pals adorning my workspace. I actually on a work call, I had my camera on and I was called out for having a broken clock. One of my coworkers said, "You know, you made a really good point, but it's really hard to take you seriously because you have a broken clock in your background." It's like, oh, oops, didn't realize you could see it.
I mean, they have a point.
It's
Nice.
part of the, the charm.
The charm of
Yeah.
you showing that, like, yes, I have a broken brain. Please send
Yeah.
help.
The crux
Please,
of the
I need somebody to recharge my batteries, please.
Nailed it.
Welcome
That's
to
a
Working
good
in
segue.
Tech, everyone. If you didn't know, we're both going crazy over it.
And I see you
Listener,
finally
I saw-
broke down and bought yourself a plasma TV. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
What?
This is not a plasma TV either. I'm a man of
Oh.
thought. This is just a constellation, actually. You can't
Oh, nice.
definitely not going to show up because it's fairly thin lines, but it lights up. Yeah.
No, we
hanging it up
definitely
yourself?
does not show up.
Hmm.
You were gonna
But
ask
Lister,
me something, yes.
This is a good segue about working in tech. You
Uh-huh.
recently 4 years at your job, I saw.
I've been there for 4 years.
So I hear.
Yeah.
God, why? I want to leave.
Forgot we had each other on LinkedIn.
I want to leave. Nobody from work watches this. So I can say things. I don't want to be here. It's been getting worse every year.
Oh.
Free lister.
Are you hiring?
Free lister.
Work from home? Permanent? Please.
Not currently,
send help.
but I'll let you know.
The Bangalore offices, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go. Go right on over.
Speaking of another segue, though, speaking of somebody who has had a hard time playing games, Jonno, why don't you say what's going on in your life right now and how much progress you've made in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or haven't?
Oh, I have. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 every day for the last 4 days.
How much a day? 5 minutes?
No, usually about an hour.
Okay.
An hour or so. We got to a point. I mean, I'm not going to mention where I'm at because it's going to spoil the game, but you would be very impressed.
Kelly finally got to the point I wanted to talk about. I was like, oh my god, fucking finally somebody's at that point. Jesus. Oh,
Yeah. That's a good
fucking
game.
Monolith
Yeah.
just wants to destroy souls, I swear to God.
No, quite literally, if you play the opening of that game. Yeah, so I have been gaming more recently. I think the holiday time has been good for that. Things are slowing down at work and whatnot. So I've been playing that. I picked up a few, speaking of, we talked off camera about the wonderful world of Thanksgiving and Black Friday and how it kind of negates the togetherness and family time and
Let's
friendship.
be thankful for everything we have. 6
Yeah.
hours later, let's murder Grandma for a new TV.
Wouldn't be the first time.
America. I know it's a long
How many
list.
grandmas
Wait,
have you
but
gone
what the
through?
fuck is wrong with you?
I had 10 grandmas at the start of this.
Oh.
Oh no.
How many are you down
Horrible.
to?
All of them are dead now.
Oh, did you at least get the TV?
Yeah, plasma. I
Woo!
hung it up myself.
God,
Yes,
I hate
like-
Black Friday so much.
With that said, I got the Black Friday haul of video games.
Games that you don't have time to play.
Hey,
No, I
Ain't that the
historically
adult?
that's been the case.
we've had problems trying to make a game project, right, with our little community. We need to make Black Friday the game now, where we just run over grandmas for TVs.
Oh, that's an easy one.
God,
You,
it would be.
you're not me.
really
You don't know
easy.
how easy it is. No. Okay.
Just do it pixel style, and you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Fuck.
Doesn't
and
Hotline
that's actually-
Miami already exist?
Yeah. Yeah.
So does
That's
Grand
actually an
Theft Auto.
excellent segue. Here we are at the end of 2022. shockingly enough. Like it's really spurred quickly. And really not a whole lot crazy has been going on this end. Besides gaming, I've also had more time to read, and I recently finished up Reggie Fils-Aimé's book. And he is very innovative businessman. You really get to jump into his mind and see where he was at Nintendo of America at the time. He had his hand in more than you'd expect.
Already.
So I recommend that book for sure. And reading some of his advice is what spurred me to find a better job this year, speaking of job hopping. So shout out to my man Reggie.
Yeah, woohoo!
What's the book called? Sorry.
I finished it yesterday, and I actually need to look up what it's called to remember. So let me. It's been a long time.
It's called
since
Reggie Fils-Aimé, My Body, My Game, My Life.
It's
That
an
would be a good
interesting
title.
read about the My Body Array. Disrupting the Game from the Bronx to the Top of Nintendo by
Cool.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
And then trying to work at GameStop, and then they won't listen to you, so you wreck their game instead.
Yeah, he mentions that in the book.
How do you think the whole GameStop stonk thing happened, Reggie?
The man on
It
the
was his
inside.
revenge.
Apparently, the board members at the time that Reggie left were installed as like all from Chewy.com or something. Like they were private shareholders of GameStop, and he was like, "Okay, I'm out."
I don't even know what that is, but okay.
It's a dog toy website.
What?
Why was
Wild.
dog toy website people in charge of GameStop?
I don't know, but he does gloss
What?
over it in the book in the epilogue. It's 3 executives from Chewy are the 3 main board members of GameStop, if I recall.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Awesome.
That's what Reggie said. He also said that he feels
CEOs
like a
are
purple
weird,
Pikmin,
man.
just a legendary man. Yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah. That's about it. That's about it on this end. Nothing shocking.
I'm
I'm looking forward to another full year shared with my special friends, including the 3 of you.
I'm looking forward to Discord crapping the server again. So
Yes.
I can get away from you for a glorious
It's-
5 minutes.
It's been 15 years.
Anywho, so I never do anything. So my update's always about games because that's the only thing that happens in my life. I do nothing else. I play games. I talk about games. I make spreadsheets about games. It's a cycle. Vicious, some might say. But I've been playing the new Pokemon games, and while yes, the games have issues, and Game Freak should be embarrassed by these issues, it is still 10 times more fun than Sword and Shield, and that's what's important to me. Sword and Shield was boring. I did not enjoy my time playing it, but Scarlet and Violet was fun, and I'm at the point now where I'm just trying to finish the Pokedex. I just have to evolve everything I currently got, then have to find somebody who has Violet and be like, give me your exclusives, or I kill. It's that simple. And then I will be done with it until the inevitable DLC. And then I'm off to play another game. I don't know what that game will be. I got to figure it out. But streaming, I started doing that again. Finally finished Ghost of Tsushima after having like a 2-month break. When I realized, man, if I had just not taken a 2-month break, I would have been done in two more streams. Oops. Didn't know I was that close to finishing the DLC for it. But oh well. But I've now started Virtue's Last Reward, the sequel to 999, the game that was people forced me to play back in January this year. I'm playing the sequel now. I've only done 1 stream at time of recording, but there will be more by the time this goes up. But it's already the first game was about going through essentially like escape rooms, but life or death related escape rooms. And at a certain point, you'd have to complete a good ending before you could do the true ending. But in the true ending, your character would learn information that they gathered in other timelines where you didn't get the true ending. So that was a wild concept for me. And the second game is pretty much just like, oh yeah, by the way, you're not on your first timeline this time around. You're on like timeline 2 or 3, and it's like, oh shit, okay, we're starting right into that's so it's already getting me interested. It's like, fuck, these games are good. People making these games know what they're doing. I like games. That's what I do.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
They're fun, and people should watch me play through them because sometimes it's lonely.
Play the Grinch game on Game Boy Advance. Merry Christmas to all. Jim Carrey.
Tempting.
Oh yeah, there's somebody else here that
Yeah,
I
there-
want to introduce.
Who is that? Who are you?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yes.
Mystery man.
The information I'm at liberty to give is that I'm Kellan.
Really? Kellan?
No.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
That's all the
That's
information.
it. That's all you're getting.
That's it.
that was
All right.
Who
Let me
are
ask you
you?
this question. Here's a question. Here's a question. What kind of hat is Canada?
A cozy warm toque.
What the
Good
fuck is a
answer.
toque?
I don't know. Look it up
American
yourself.
life.
You ignorance.
Isn't that something that you smoke?
Oh, I just spelling
Load
wrong.
up a
Okay.
fat toque and lighten up, bruh. Really
So
been
it's a
getting the
beanie.
toques lately.
That's how the French pronounce marijuana. Taking a toque.
Taking a toque.
Oh,
Pardon me for a minute. I am just about to toque up over here.
Perfect.
what else do the French say? Hey, they eat the lasagna. You know, like,
Yeah, they
My
sure do,
God.
buddy.
There's gonna be
I'm sorry,
exactly.
French people.
There's gonna be exactly one francophone who watches this video, and you're gonna get inundated with death threats. It's
Oh,
just
don't worry.
I want-
in
It'll-
before
that'll
that
happen in
happens.
20 years, and by that point, we'll be dead.
Beautiful.
God. Okay.
It's gonna be a
Alright.
murder suicide too, but
Evans,
you know, you
yes.
didn't hear that from me.
yes.
It'll be Jonno and then me.
In what's happening?
That's
Who?
the order of death.
Garfield.
Oh, okay. The Order of Garfields.
No. No cats. No cats.
Okay, sorry.
That's a new rule. No cats.
I guess I should be. Wait. No. Yeah.
I'm
So-
pointing in my heart.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Anywho.
I might want to get that looked at, but I mean, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, you need help.
Did you know that Garfield was originally created by Jim Davis and published locally as John in 1976?
Yes.
No,
John Arbuckle was the main focus and not Garfield.
Yes, I did know this actually.
It's a strange marketing technique, yeah. Yeah, I actually said that on the podcast before. Now that I mentioned it, I get it confused. I forget what Garfield facts I bring up on the podcast and what Garfield facts I bring up with my coworkers. So
I get confused on why I'm here listening to this every episode when we're trying
And
to
it's
get into a topic. Because I have nothing better going on in my life.
You want to know where this
Yeah, I
all
wanna
started.
know.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But this is the last thing before we move on.
No, I'm.
So you're genuinely curious. Why is there Garfield on my TV?
He wants
Yeah.
to know why
Yeah.
why and how your personality became Garfield.
What was it before?
Oh, Zarda.
Yeah, that's... Oh, okay.
Walruses.
Oh, they've been there from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pineapple smoothies.
Mhm.
That's austere.
It's not like any of these things have left. It's merely a adopting of a new level of being.
He's just trying to figure
an-
out what
an
material works
ascension.
and what doesn't for the rewrites of Project Believe.
Oh yeah, Garfield will be in my book. I purchased the copyright. I have a good friend who I worked with for 5 years, and
you?
he is the opposite of me. Not in the sense that Zantok is the opposite of me. He's a very cuddly curmudgeon. This man was just very stable, let's say, which very even keel. So the way that I wedged myself into our friendship of many years was through Garfield facts. I recently left that job and was gifted the Garfield you see behind me from my friends at that position. And he and I both had the same Garfield gift on my last day there. It was a very special moment, very tender. So Garfield's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, but he recently came back. It's like he came back with the milk, you know.
Cat came back.
The very
Yeah,
next
Cat
day.
came back.
They
2 years
thought
later.
Yeah.
he was a goner.
and
The
he,
cat
and he,
came
yeah,
back.
and we really bonded, Garfield and I, after that. There's a Garfield fact every day for 1,500 days or something like that. So
Just maybe for context of the pod of the YouTube video,
yeah,
every Jonno in our Discord server has his avatar is Garfield. Aw, that's nice. His avatar's Garfield. He has a bevy of Garfield related emojis to react to any situation with.
More emojis
And-
I've ever seen, and they're all Garfield.
They're
themed.
all Garfield.
It's impressive.
yeah.
And
Thank
it is truly, it's just we have also been inducted into the Garfield friendship, willingly or not. But that's nice. Oh, that's I like
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Some of us just like Garfield. I
Some of
guess.
us just like Garfield.
Yeah. So, you know, there's just so much we can learn from him. It
Eat
really
lasagna.
it gets me emotional sometimes thinking about it.
We're
I think we've
very
broken
on topic.
Lister.
Lister,
I hate
we're very
everything.
on topic, Lister.
Y'all are not.
We're very on topic, Lister. At least it's not a Monday.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
Although
That's
maybe
true.
they're listening to us on a Monday, in which case
In which
I
case,
hope
we're
you
probably
make
their
your day
only
better.
solace in the otherwise hell that is whatever their job is.
Yes.
Jacob, nobody
I-
likes to work. Don't give me that. Nobody likes to work. We do it because we have to. Nobody wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I like my job, but I would rather be doing nothing.
I would rather stream full time.
Do it. Let's go.
You gotta
already
stream
know-
a little bit more, because last time you streamed, I recall watching and somebody gave a subscription and you were like, why do you do this? Don't give me your money, do anything else with it.
I stream one day a week for 4 hours. I'm not worth your subs. I'll take your money, but I'm not worth your subs. I want to stream more, but I also value the few days I had that have nothing on them.
Totally fair.
Yeah. Anywho, we're going to talk about The Legend of Zelda. Both generally speaking, and its relation to Smash Brothers. The content that it has, the content that it could have, and arguably the content that it should have. Is there too much? Is there not enough? Is it poorly distributed across of its wide series? We'll discuss those questions. You can probably guess the answers to some of them. Because why the fuck else would this be a topic? I don't know. We don't talk about things that work. Why would you do that? That's silly. So, first of all, what I want to know is this.
Yeah.
What of Zelda do we do?
What?
I
What?
said, what of Zelda do we do? I'm asking.
I get you.
What is everybody? Yeah, whatever like connection. What have you done with Zelda? Like games you've played, thoughts on the series just in general. Why were you? Why are you on this episode talking about Zelda? We're not going to pick somebody that's never played a game, right?
Pick me.
Go. I pick
Yeah.
Okay.
you. Like a
all
Pikmin,
right.
a purple Pikmin, even Reggie.
Yes.
Oh my god,
So-
Reggie.
Oh no.
Wouldn't that be the day?
Oh gosh. I'm not at liberty to say. But I love the Legend of Zelda series. I've played a whole bunch of games. I don't think I've played every single one of them, but I've played a very
be
large
impressed.
portion of them.
Considering some are Japanese only, I would be impressed.
But yeah, I've been playing, oh gosh, Zelda games for, oh man, I don't even know how many years it's been. It's been a long time. Anyway, love Zelda games. I love them so much. And there's just so many interesting characters in each game that, obviously you've got the recurring characters of like Link and Zelda, but each game has its own like side cast of characters that are all so unique and really cool. And in the context of Smash Bros, I think they could tap into that resource a bit more.
Oh yeah.
What is your favorite Zelda game? Number one.
Oh, okay. Hands down, Majora's Mask. I love it so much. It's so
Excellent
creepy.
choice.
It's like, it's the perfect blend of, it took, like, you've got the very popular Ocarina of Time, and it takes kind of the setting, the characters of that, but everything is so different. You're in this kind of alternate universe, and if you started with Ocarina of Time and you come into Majora's Mask, you're like, it's the same, but it's so different.
It's dark, which is rare.
It's so
for
dark.
Zelda.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I love the dark, kind of melancholic, creepy vibe that this game has. The Groundhog Day-esque, the rewind mechanic, super duper cool. How, you kind of work up, you have to then rewind, and then that unlocks a new path, and then you have to figure it out, rewind. I think I was 10 years old, and it was my second time playing the game. I had gotten stuck when I was a little bit younger, and I came back to it when I was 10, and I finished the game with, I had found every single mask. I had done all of the Skulltula challenge. I was determined to 100% this game, and I was so satisfied that I was able to finish it with everything.
Hell yeah.
That's extremely impressive, especially like for like being a child playing through a game that is actually like extremely complicated, intricate, and like there are some very like things that are, I feel like, difficult coming at the game as an adult. Like when I went back, my sister actually was playing Majora's Mask for the first time after playing through Ocarina of Time for the first time. And then coming back and watching her play that as an adult and being like, damn, like, it's actually like not very intuitive, some of these things that like I'm sure eventually we would work them out as kids, and we clearly did if we've beaten games, but like at the same time, how did we do it?
Yeah.
And we didn't have internet guides to look up either. Like, you just had to figure it out or spend, $1 billion on the game guide book, which I never did.
Did we
Right.
just get dumber as we got older?
Sometimes
we can't do
Sometimes
these
it
games that we
definitely
could have
feels
done
that
back
way.
then.
I got worse at games as I got older.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Same.
I
Oh my
think
gosh.
that I genuinely was better at games when I was 7 years old.
I agree. I feel the exact same way. I like play games that I was like, oh, I love this game as a kid, and then I just suck at it. I'm like, what happened?
Mhm,
Age,
mhm.
my man. Age. And our
Yeah,
brains
many-
getting fried by jobs.
Microplastics,
Yeah.
lead. Whenever I looked at Garfield doll,
Oh my god.
I was warned. Yeah, but yeah, what a good point though. And back in the day, we just had Prima guides if our parents would
Prima
afford
and
them
Brady.
for us.
Yeah.
Yep. Occasionally, the rare game FAQs walkthrough that would actually be complete.
Yes.
mostly it was
with the little
classic.
ASCII
Yeah.
art too. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Mhm.
I still use
Mhm.
their site.
Yeah,
Me
I'm
too. Me
thrilled
too.
that it still exists.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
was
but mostly it was
actually-
just some guy on the playground being like, "Hey, did you know that you could play as Waluigi in Super Mario 64 if you jump around the Princess Peach's castle 40 times?"
Me was under the truck. What can I say? We all know it's
That
true.
was true. Sorry, Jake. What?
Oh, nothing. No.
Okay. But yeah, what was your favorite Zelda game, Jake? Speaking of you,
That's a tough question because I also really like Majora's Mask for a lot of the same reasons that Kellen just mentioned. I think, like, just from a game developing perspective, I have such a respect for it because, like, the lore, or at least like the urban legend or whatever around the development of Majora's, is that like it was basically like a big challenge because half of Nintendo wanted to do, or like half of the big voices at Nintendo wanted to do Ocarina of Time for the ill-fated N64 disc drive or dual drive or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And the other half was like, well, we actually want to move on and do something new, not Ocarina of Time with a couple extra things. And so, like, there was the story goes like there's like a big challenge that if you can do this in a year, if you can pull this off, then we'll go with that game. And that game eventually became Majora's Mask. So it's really fascinating from like a perspective of coming into it. Like, it's essentially like you have all these assets and you've repurposed them so that they like are in a completely different context and tell a completely different story. So it's really cool to see that.
That kind of reminds me of what Sakurai said about all the things that had to go right and wrong for Smash to even exist in the first place. Earthbound 64 being delayed as hell, the original version of Kirby's Air Ride being canned, and it's like, all right, we need the game fast. What can you do? Well, I've got this fighting game we can do. It's like, do it. It's like, all right.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that video fairly recently as well. So it is really it's so these kind of urban legends about like the
Dragon
or
King.
maybe not really urban legends if it's actually straight from Sakurai, but like some of these things, it's just such a fascinating peek behind the curtain of the industry of how like sometimes it really is just like a stroke of chance or somebody just making a wild kind of taking an idea and like running wild with it and then making something really cool out of it in the end. I didn't actually answer the question of what my favorite Zelda game is. I just rambled about why I like Majora's Mask.
I mean, that kind of
It's
sounded like
just
your
such
answer.
a good game. It deserves it.
It is, but I actually have a very strong affinity to the Oracle's games for the Game Boy Color, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. I don't know if I'd say they're my all-time favorites, but I have like a great love for those games. I think that it's really cool how they were able to make these two linking, connected worlds influence each other based on your playthrough, and like it would change. Like you could have like a password that would carry over with you to the next world or the next leg of the story, and in the end it would come together and complete the story, and you'd have that ending sequence where you actually rescue Zelda, which doesn't happen if you're just playing one of the two games. So those two games are awesome. I think that they're really fun, and I think I have a strong fondness for them. So I would say they're, if not my favorite, then they're definitely beloved to me.
Fair enough. Majora's Mask and then Oracles.
Yeah, probably, maybe. Depends when
Alright.
you ask me, and depends what I'm thinking about.
Fair enough. I get that.
Yeah, totally.
All right, Jonno. How about you? How you do Zelda?
How do I do Zelda? The year was 2012. The Wii was in its last days, as you know, a very powerful console. Really, and that
Built
was
like a
kind of reading
brick.
back, and yeah, exactly. And I feel really nostalgic for the way that the menu was set up with the various channels. It was a neat system. And reading through Reggie's book and reliving those glory days of the DS and Wii really solidified that. And we got a dusting of RPGs towards the end of the Wii's life, because that was one of the few things the Wii's didn't get exactly right. There wasn't a lot of third party support that wasn't shovelware because the control scheme was so unique, despite it being such a strong selling system. But Nintendo came through in the end, and they gave us 4 RPGs of varying flavors: action, adventure, turn-based. We got Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, Pandora's Tower, and my favorite Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword.
It's a shame I don't have a camera on this computer.
Oh, there it is. There
The
it is.
second he said it's the twilight of the Wii's life, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
And
I forgot Skyward Sword existed for a bit. I was like, what game are you talking about? What was... It's like, it went from Twilight Princess to Breath of the Wild on console, didn't it? It was like,
Oh wow.
oh, you son of a bitch.
Oh, it's like that, hey?
there were...
I too wish I could forget
tensions.
that Skyward Sword existed.
Maybe that should be the other question.
certain elements of the Zelda franchise that people take for granted, I think. Amazing overall characterization, incredible dungeon exploring and puzzle solving, but more importantly, exploration. Like going through A Link to the Past for the first time, or the original Zelda on the NES for the first time, and really wilding out, setting one foot in front of the other, and just seeing what this sprawling map has for you. What I really enjoyed about Skyward Sword is it took away all of that, and every single island that you could visit was really just a spot to unlock another treasure chest in one of 3 overworld locations. I enjoyed that immensely. I also thought the motion controls were an A+.
Jado, it's not opposite day.
And the best part was fighting the imprisoned 3 times.
4, 5, 4, 5, 5.
Yeah.
Because
I'll say, I'm pretty
you
sure it's
fight
more
him-
than 3.
You fight him like at least 3 times for sure. For sure 3 times. One to unlock each of the 3 bespoke overworld sequences. Then you fight him a 4th time for sure, and then you fight him immediately following that a 5th time. Like, and then I'm pretty sure you also fight him leading up to the final boss as well.
When I was doing that playthrough in your basement over years ago, I think I was just so filled with rage after the 4th time, maybe. I don't know. I probably snapped a little sooner than that, but after that motherfucker reappeared again, I was so angry. I think I've just blanked the entire experience from my mind.
Can we also all agree that The Imprisoned is both one of the dumbest names for a Zelda enemy, and also one of the worst designs? What the fuck is that thing?
Not a fan.
You're
It's like a
popping
mouse
its
with
toes
toes.
to kill it. What the fuck? It's disgusting. Whoever designed it should feel bad.
You know what was great about it, though, was I really enjoyed that Fee was there for me throughout the entire journey and always made sure that I knew how to do everything.
Oh, but
I don't feel like
be
I'm
careful.
any closer to
The
knowing
batteries
where
in
you
your Wii
stand.
remote are wearing out.
Yeah. Well, my favorite Zelda game is probably The Wind Waker.
That's better. That's a better choice.
The Wind Waker, or my favorite 2D is A Link to the Past, and I go between either or, depending on the day. I also really appreciate Breath of the Wild. I just can't call it my favorite because I know that there's so much room to improve in the sequel. With obvious standpoints like enemy variety, dungeon types. So we may get there with Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild may round out my top 3, just for modernizing that explorative sense in Zelda that may or may not have been kind of whittled away at compared to the 2D games over the years. There we go.
All
So
right.
how about you, Zantok? What was
Oh.
that? Sorry.
Oh, I do absolutely adore A Link to the Past. So I wanted to just tag on to that because like I was thinking about like the games that I really like, and for some reason A Link to the Past didn't come to mind despite talking about Tunic earlier in the episode. And also talking about it in the same context, but I adore A Link to the Past. Even to this day, I watch a lot of like
Oh yeah.
A Link to the Past randomizers and folks who play through that on Twitch. Like it's like I love that game. I think it holds up extremely well for like
Generally speaking,
that rounds out my top.
I think it's generally considered the best 2D Zelda. Like the only other ones I ever see in the discussion against it are A Link Between Worlds, and then
amazing game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've
Also
heard
very good.
and I know people like the Switch version of Link's Awakening, but
Mm-hmm.
when people talk about 2D Zelda, they're talking about Link to the Past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Such a great game and such a nostalgia bomb too. Whenever you boot it up, what gets me really nostalgic are those opening moments where you walk into the dungeons of Hyrule Castle and find your dying uncle. That really spurs
They killed
the old memories. Yeah, Eric.
Error.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Uncle Error. You know.
I know that guy. They found him under the truck on Cinnabar Island.
Yes. As for me, compared to the three of you, I have a lot less history with Zelda. I'm not much of an action gamer. I don't run around and hit things with most of the games I play. I have that amiibo too somewhere. It's set up box. But I have watched a good amount of Let's Plays. I've minorly played like bits, like the beginning bit of Link to the Past and the beginning bit of Twilight Princess, and then the original Zelda game I played it on the Switch, NES class, not NES class, but the NES Online nonsense. But I've seen full LPs of Ocarina, of Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, which was rough to get through. I watched my brother Twilix play through all of Twilight Princess. I watched The Link's Awakening on Switch. I actually haven't seen a playthrough of A Link to the Past, though. So at some point I'll probably get there. But the only one I actually played and put like a serious amount of hours in is Breath of the Wild. So it kind of defaults as being my favorite because it's the only one that I've like played. Unfortunately, despite doing pretty much everything else, I never did finish it. Because I was playing it on Wii U, and I was playing. I think I must have been playing it digitally because for some reason my save file was on a flash drive, and I don't know why, but that flash drive is gone. So
crap!
I'm never gonna beat Ganon. Oh well, I've seen what happens. I've looked it up, but it's like, well, I did everything else. It counts. Oh well.
This doesn't hit the same, but I guess.
So,
it's hey, you know what? Riding the horse is not fun in that game. And having to ride the horse in the final battle would not have been enjoyable. So I was like, you know what? It's okay.
Damn, honestly, I really like riding the horse.
Yeah.
You horse girls are all the same.
Excuse you, I was a dragon girl in like elementary school.
Okay, I play a dragon guy in Final Fantasy 14, so.
I thought you were a Lions kid.
No, that was the before times.
Ah.
So this brings us all around to our actual discussion for now. Now that we've established how well we do or do not know The Legend of Zelda, let's talk about what Smash has done with the series. Now, for the most case, characters are what people tend to care about, but we're going to try and discuss things a little bit more, like the stages at the very least. And just going over through a brief overview of what Smash has already done so far. So the original Smash Bros. Game introduces G. Wouldn't you know, Link is in the game. A big shock, I know, right?
Gino?
Yes, Gino, otherwise known as Link. We also had a stage of Hyrule Castle based off the Ocarina of Time version. And then Melee added a few more characters, Zelda and Sheik, being able to transform into each other. We got a younger version of Link from Ocarina of Time, which is still, I don't know. Well, I don't know why. We
Should have
got
gotten Saria.
yeah, we got Ganondorf, which was really cool. It'd be cool if he didn't just fight like Captain Falcon,
Oh.
but you know that's something to maybe be fixed bit by bit with each future game. We got 2 more stages. Temple, which was actually based off of the Adventure of Link's Temples, and then Great Bay from Majora's Mask. And also, I apparently picked a really good picture for the stage background of this episode. Because you guys were both talking about how much you love Majora's Mask. I was like, I'm just going to pick Great Bay for the picture for this episode. Because, sure, I like it. So it's there. Brawl only gave us Toon Link as a new character. While also ditching Young Link. And I'm just like, okay.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's like, okay, so we got rid of one character to basically replace them with the same thing. Okay. But we got new stages. We got Bridge of Eldin from Twilight Princess. We got the pirate ship from Wind Waker, which is arguably the best Zelda stage in Smash, in my opinion.
IMO 2.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
We also were given assist trophies starting in Brawl, and they gave us Tingle to represent The Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
And there are mixed opinions about Tingle, which I'm not going to get into.
Tingle is my friend.
Yeah, it's not shocking. Then Smash 4 came around, and we got no new Zelda characters.
People who hate Tingle can catch these hands.
But we got Young Link back. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. That was Ultimate. We didn't even get Young Link back in Smash 4. What am I talking
we
about?
didn't.
Instead, we got some new stages. Gerudo Valley, which is a pretty cool one from Ocarina of Time. Then we got the Spirit Train from Spirit Tracks, and, you know, Leave It to Me became a meme. And then we got Skylock from everybody's favorite Zelda game, Skyward Sword! Woo! Yeah.
Is Groose there?
No, Groot is not there.
I like Groose.
Well, Groot's
It
not
has
there.
hair.
That's fine. And then, you know, finally Smash Ultimate where, you know, everyone is here, including Young Link. Now he's actually back. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Smash
we
4
can
added
solve
any
these issues.
assist trophies. Did I miss those? Yeah, Smash 4 did add more assist trophies. We got Midna, Girahim, and Skulk. It was like, all right, cool. These are some good characters. Why are none of them playable? Except
Should have been
Girahim.
Girahim from the best
Nah,
Zelda game.
Fuck Girahim. So stupid. I don't like him. Anyways, Ultimate
like when he
also... What? Now.
He moves his tongue like that. Girahim.
God. Then Ultimate also added
Yeah.
Pig Ganon as a boss based off his Ocarina of Time version, which is a really fun
Badass.
fight. We only got one new stage, Great Plateau Tower, which... Really? Really? You have all the Breath of the Wild. Do we just get the Great Plateau
Oh.
Tower?
Yeah,
My
we'll get
assumption has to be that Breath of the Wild was still in development when Sakurai was picking the stage, and he's just like, that one's like, alright. Could have had Zoro's
What gets
Domain.
me is
We
the
could have had
tower
Death
doesn't
Mountain.
even
We could have had the Great
function
Plateau
how it does in Breath
itself.
of the Wild.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Like the collapsible tower is jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got one more assist trophy in Ultimate. The Moon. Yep. The Moon. The
We
Moon
got
became
teased
an
with
assist
Skull Kid
trophy.
for a while.
And it was
Yeah.
revealed before Skull Kid was, so people were thinking like, "Oh my god, does this mean Skull Kid is playable? Because Moon assists, Skull Kid playable?" It's like, no, it doesn't. He's an assist. She was like,
That would have been an incredible combo.
"I know, right?" Although I would probably have the Moon be his final smash, but
The
think
Grinch
that would
even
be
told us
super
that
cool.
Skull Kid, would be playable.
Skull Kid was not part of the Grinch League,
Weren't they?
wasn't he?
I think he was. Skull Kid, Isaac, a couple others that didn't make it.
I know
in.
how to find out because I made a spirit battle for the Grinch on Smashtopia based
Oh,
off the
you
Grinch
did.
League.
Does anyone want to?
Skull Kid was not part of it. It was Banjo Kazooie, Chorus Kids, Geno, Isaac, Shadow, and Mock Rider.
Oh, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yes,
I like that guy. There's jewelry coming out of him right now.
that's weird.
Yeah.
So now that we've established what Smash actually brought from Zelda, rather, not including outfits and items and music, because that's a lot to go through. What do we think? Let's answer the first question right here. Has Smash done right by The Legend of Zelda? Is it represented fairly. I should also add that Ultimate varied up the outfits for the characters. So Ganondorf is no longer based off his Twilight Princess line like he was in Brawl and Smash 4. He's back to his Ocarina of Time looks. Sheik is Ocarina of Time inspired, but Zelda is based off of Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds, and then Link is based off of Breath of the Wild. Meanwhile, obviously Toon Link and Young Link are from their respective games. So at least they varied out the games with the outfits, but...
So the question is has Zelda been treated fairly, and is it fairly represented?
Yes.
And okay, absolutely not.
That's one vote for no.
Yeah, how about you guys?
I think for like a mainline Nintendo series game that has so many cool characters, it feels a little lame just to stick to the main trio essentially. Like, you've got a few Links, and they've switched up Zelda / Sheik a little bit, and I like that they made them separate characters in more recent games. And Ganondorf is there, cool, but I regret to say I haven't played any of Smash Ultimate, but in like earlier games he was just a clone of he and Captain Falcon were essentially the same guy.
Yeah.
But Ganondorf was like the heavy version. So he wasn't a unique character, and in my opinion, I feel like you could replace Ganondorf with there's so many other villains in Zelda like that could have a truly unique moveset. That in short, I think they could do a bit more.
Yeah, like in fairness, Ganondorf was only added because, like much like several of the other characters in Melee, they had time to either add like one completely different character or like 6 characters that were built off of others. And Ganondorf was one of those lucky 6 and got built off Captain Falcon. And with each game since then, Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate, he's been made a little bit different every time. Like he's getting further away from Captain Falcon, but it's like baby steps. It's like, you don't got to do baby steps. We could do a big step. You want to keep Ganondorf as is? Cool. Give us Black Shadow. Let F-Zero have a second rep, and then you can just do whatever crazy nonsense you want to do with Ganondorf. Or kill Ganondorf and bring in Ganon.
Give me Vati. Give me Vati. Give me Vati.
I mean, Vati would be down, but I'm specifically saying like as a way to preserve Ganon, but also have to be different. Go with the Ganon design from Oracles and Link to the Past. Give me the blue-furred pig Ganon with a trident.
Yeah, like beast form Ganon.
I would love that. Yes. It would be so good.
Another
and
character
it might be a
that
way...
you and I... Sorry?
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead, Kellan.
Okay, thanks. What I was going to say is I think it might also be a way to introduce like people who are only familiar with like the biggest Zelda games where, Ganondorf is always Ganondorf.
Yeah.
Seeing, blue beast form Ganon, they're like, who the heck is this guy? What game is that? That might introduce people to the like less well-known Zelda games.
Yep. I'm really hoping that for Tears of the Kingdom, instead of being like, let's see human Calamity Ganon, it's like, nah, I don't care about human Ganon. Show me beast Ganon, and not this whole smoky, slimy, plasma-y shadow form Ganondorf. I'm like, show me the beast.
If they make him humanoid, I at least want him to look like really fucked up. Like the terrifying mummy that we got in that little teaser trailer. I'm like,
right, I forgot about that.
That is so spooky. So I'm like, you know what? That's cool. Don't just make him like another Gerudo clone, because it's like, yeah, whatever. No, I want to see like terrifying, fucked up, almost human Ganon. Like, I think that would be really cool.
Have you seen Ganon's design, or Ganondorf's design rather, in Hyrule Warriors, the original Hyrule Warriors?
No, I'm gonna go look that up right now.
He's this beefy dude. He's got like massive ass hair. It's like, dude, Hyrule Warriors did an amazing job with its character design. Say what you will about the gameplay and the story, but the character design was on point.
It's true. Like the Hyrule Warriors games, I've not played them, but I think talking about series that have actually done really right by the variety of characters in a franchise, particularly the Hyrule Warriors games that I think in a different episode we've talked about Hyrule Warriors in the context of like King, what's his name, Bosphoramus,
King Daptus, and King
Mr. Hyrule himself.
The kings of Hyrule. King Daptus, King Rome.
we were talking about this in a different episode, I think, but it's a series that is done really right by a lot of different Zelda games and shown just how varied the characters are, how you could completely make like very compelling and interesting characterizations out of a lot of them. Like in Age of Calamity, for example, you have all of the champions. In as I understand, in the classic Hyrule Warriors, you've got like representation from all across. You've got Midna. You've got pretty sure like don't you have Marin from Link's Awakening?
You have
like
Marin, yeah.
You've like
you have Marin and Agatha from Twilight Princess.
Agatha from Twilight Princess,
which would not have been on my bingo board.
You've got the freaking King of Red Lions. Like it doesn't have to go that far with Smash, obviously.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants hyper saturation of any one franchise. It clearly just breeds quite a lot of contempt among
it does.
What
Nintendo
they get
factions.
favoritism.
See, I wonder what series we could be referring to.
Another Warriors franchise. But yeah, what I mean is, I think that like for Zelda in particular, like Kellan said, it's a real shame that they've kind of erred very cautiously in who they bring into one of the flagship Nintendo franchises. Like Mario has a lot of representation. It's great, and I think as it should, it is definitely Nintendo's face.
Yeah. Like people will say that there's too much Mario, or it's like, I mean, we're really running out of Mario characters. Like, we're really not. There's still Toad and Waluigi at
Dr. Goomba Tower.
There's Toad and Waluigi at minimum. There's Paper Mario. There's Geno if you want to go that route.
Geno.
Spike.
We don't have to dwell into, oh look, Piranha Plant.
Goomba. Dr. Goomba Tower. No, but I agree, because it is really like, yeah, it is a real shame that we haven't gotten more Zelda representation in terms of characters.
Yeah.
But going back to even the original point, like there's also such a varied set of locales that you can pick from, like a lot of interesting dungeons, a lot of interesting like different geographies in the Zelda games. Like each one comes with all kinds of different biomes and like areas to explore. That the exploration aspect is like the heart of it, what Miyamoto has talked about in terms of like what inspired him to create Zelda in the first place, was that sense of exploration.
Yeah.
And that's what I love most about the games is
like,
you do feel like you're exploring. You're like, wow, this is really cool. And like, sorry, I'm gonna tangent for 2 seconds.
Do it.
Speaking of like existing maps in Smash and my favorite game, like Majora's Mask, of all places to pick, Great Bay, really? Like it just feels kind of bland. Like they could have done the clock tower. They could have done the massive tree at the end of the game, like where all the 4 mask spirit guys are. Where else? Like there's just other cool locations. They could have done like the frog pond with the fairy fountain. But they're like, I don't know, this hook-shaped building, which like it's not bad, but I don't know. I feel like again, there's more cool things.
Sometimes weird about
the upside down tower from, the last what is it even called right now? I can't even remember what it's called, but the
Stone
place
Tower Temple.
Yes, yeah, where you flip it upside down. Wouldn't that be a really cool fighting stage where all of a sudden everything just kind of goes whoop? I think that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, we have that with the Metroid stage, but if we got it before then, yes.
That's true. I was thinking about what's that? The Frigate Orpheon?
Yeah, Frigate Orpheon from
Is that a new thing?
It's in Brawl.
Brawl, I think.
Yeah, it's Brawl.
Yeah. So they could have easily done.
I would have done Clock Town easily.
Instead of, yeah.
And even like a whole time mechanic where like it's passing through each day and like the sky is getting all this darker and shit and things starting to happen on the stage. But then something happens like, all right, and we're back to day one. And everything is
really interesting. that you guys mentioned that, because actually, Super Smash Flash 2
Yeah.
has done Clock Town as a stage in their game. So you fight in front of the clock tower, and it goes through the 3 days. And I think that like
It's a perfect
shows
choice.
that it would have been a really workable, good stage choice.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
Melee, in fairness to Melee, had a very tight turnaround from Smash 64 to Melee. There was not a lot of time in between games. So just the fact that we did get the stages that we did, and they look pretty fucking good for the most part.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there's so much like, okay, odd choice to include this one, but there was not a lot of it was like what, a year, 2 years between 64 and Melee from release to release. It's like pretty much like Smash 4 and Ultimate. They finished 64. It's like, all right, it's time for Melee. We got to start working on it.
Totally. Yeah, it was a super tight turnaround, and the huge jump in quality from 64 to Melee.
It's
Oh my
literally
gosh,
Smash
yeah.
2.
Is-
Literally Smash 2.
Crazy. And I'll give Great Bay this. I like the turtle. There's
Love the
Tingles
turtle.
there. Tingles there.
You can hurt Tingle.
I like running up and down underneath that little bridge. It's a good time. Yeah, and if there were a clock down stage, I'm happy that Tingle would probably be there too. So
Don't know.
yeah.
I mean, the
I
four
like that you
giants
can
do
pop his
appear.
balloon.
Yeah, the four, and the balloon's a platform when it's not popped too, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
But like Great Bay does have, like the moon getting close as the stage is going on, and then the four giants will appear and be like, go back to your sky where you belong, and they'll push it away, and then they disappear and fuck off. But I like that at least they have that preserved from Majora's Mask. It's like, well, it's not the location you would expect to be included. It at least has a fun background, and the platform arrangement is pretty unique, even amongst stages today.
Right. Totally. I guess I'll start kind of like with what I do like about the Zelda representation in Smash. Most of the stages are fairly interesting, even if the execution by modern standards is lacking. I mean, Great Bay was, I think, arguably pretty good for the time. Bridge of Eldin, I mean, some people love it, some people hate it, but it's a landmark location at the very least. Pirate Ship is freaking awesome. Temple, again, most people love it. It's a flagship stage. So there's a fair amount of good there. I do like that Sakurai at the very least gave us that broad series representation in Ultimate finally by saying, okay, let's convert Zelda to the Link to the Past design. I'm very salty that we don't have new character design amiibos, by the way.
Yeah,
Or
especially
Ganondorf too. Yeah.
I hate Ganondorf's look in Smash 4. Like, it's still his Twilight Princess design, but they changed it from Brawl Slight to have like that light sword scar on his chest, and it looks so bad. I hate it, and I hate that it's on his amiibo.
Well, I think it's also interesting because that shows in the timeline Twilight Princess exists in, Ganondorf actually survived that and just moved on to Smash.
I mean, Ganondorf survived
Pretty.
everything.
Yeah, he does. Even my affection, which is really saying something. So, I do like that. I think that, and I do agree that Great Plateau Tower, I mean, it's probably not coming back in Smash Shakes. Like, please, dear Lord, no, because it's a bad stage, frankly. But benefit of the doubt. I think New Donk City Hall and Great Plateau Tower are probably both made and both don't represent their games very well because of the development crunch time. Nintendo being like, "Oh, you should put this in there," and Sakura's like, "I have no idea how this works." Okay.
I mean, for both of them, they could have just done Great Plateau itself, and it could have been situated like at the base of the tower, or showed a couple shrines in the background, or had the old man be there with his house, or
Mhm.
with fuck it, what was the other one? The Mario one, that tower, New Donk City Tower, or whatever the fuck it's called, New
Mhm.
Donk City Hall. God,
Yeah.
again, just call it New Donk City and have it be at the floor.
Mhm.
Just in the towers up top, you can do a couple platforms at it. Then you also have like the street lights that you can fight on top of or something, or one of the taxis could be just sitting there. But then you
Yeah.
have to go tower, and then also Moray Towers for Splatoon. Why are there 3 new tower stages in Ultimate? Honestly, in Spiral
Mario
Mountains
Tower is
DLC,
great.
pretty close to being a tower. Let's be
Stone
honest.
Tower
Mhm.
Temple.
Mhm.
It's like Jesus.
The other two. And I do enjoy the broad selection of spirits and trophies we've gotten over the years. Certain event matches, like the one where you fight Dark Link in Melee, was
Yeah, that was
pretty
fun.
cool. The remixes, the music that we get are pretty consistently awesome. Like the Ocarina of Time medley that came out during Brawl is still like a huge callback.
True.
The Ganon boss in Ultimate is amazing.
We got a whole section in
Mhm.
the World of Light story mode based off of the Sacred Land.
Yeah, and the assist trophies, I mean, they're pretty cool. I mean, you would wish that Skull Kid and Midna were playable, but they're at least there. The Moon's there, Girahim's there. I mean, that's pretty solid. I wish Tingle were actually in Ultimate. I don't know why they just like took him out. It's pretty random.
Honestly, yeah. It's weird how like
Uh,
there's some assist trophies that are just like, yeah, we're not gonna have you in this game. It's like, but why? Yeah, I just don't feel like it.
mhm,
It's like,
mhm,
oh,
mhm.
okay. Like, where did
Yeah,
Isaac go in Smash 4? He's in Brawl, gone to Smash 4, and he's like, okay, apparently people wanted you to be in the game, so I'll make you an assist trophy again instead of being playable.
Okay.
Alright. I mean, at least his assist trophy was a big upgrade over the version in Brawl. So, like, at least there's
Mhm.
that, but...
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I like having the Deku scrubs and the bubbles and whatever in Smash Run and Smash Four. So there's been some cool representation, but it's when you look at Mario, you
When
look
you
at
look at
Pokemon,
Pokemon,
and
you look at Fire Emblem.
hmm and when you consider at this point, Mario and Pokemon are the number one and number two. I guess Pokemon's number one, Mario's number two, and that shows in the character representation
Yeah.
of those series. But Zelda's number 3. It's a best-selling video game franchise that's been around for damn near 40 years. Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, I know. Treat it with respect, and I don't know if there's someone in the development crew whispering in Sakurai's ear, this isn't very important. Let's move on. But we haven't had a new character in Zelda technically since Melee,
Technically, yeah.
because Toon Link, in my opinion, he's
Like, yeah,
semi-clone.
it's a different model,
It's
and there's some different properties. But
mhm.
Toon Link in Brawl is arguably Young Link in Melee. Arguably.
And Lister and I mean, we've had conversations in the past about what we would do, approach this roster
We have
and
a
make it better.
we
Yeah.
have a whole episode where we took Toon Link's moves and we're just like, yeah, make it a new one.
Yeah, because at this point, Toon Link is represented by so many titles in
Yeah.
in the series. Your Wind Waker, your Minish Cap, Four Swords, Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass. It goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can
Like-
pull from all that.
Link becoming Wild Link in Ultimate helped to differentiate the 3, but then there's still the 2. It's like, how different are you? I mean, let's not ask a competitive player because then they'll go on a rant about actually they're very different, you fucktards. But how different are they?
Well, one
Mhm.
drinks the milk and the other does a little conduct of his baton.
I thought you were gonna say like he danced with his pig.
He does that too. But yeah, I think
From
Yeah.
a casual perspective, there's not a difference.
no. And I like with all the visual intrigue of the Zelda games, the characterization makes them different, but like they play the exact same. Well, not
Yeah.
the exact same, but
And
They're
Alfonso-
borderline
learn
the
it.
same. Yeah.
Like close enough that they may as well be.
Yeah. It's
It's-
not like
it's
the
like
space
what we were
animals,
saying.
but
it's like what we were saying about the clones of like between Ganondorf and Captain Falcon in Melee and Brawl, and to some extent Smash 4, and finally a little bit different in Ultimate. But
yeah.
But yeah, like I do think that there's something to be said for declonifying or de-echoifying the characters. But correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is Young Link branded as an Echo Fighter of Toon
Nope.
Link? And no,
No,
they're not.
neither.
Oh,
They
okay.
are both full characters. Neither one of them are Echo Fighters.
Interesting.
They might have semi-clone status with regular Link. Obviously, I mean, and that's a fan terminology, to be fair. But like Young Link was one of those characters that was added to Melee as one of those 6 extra ones. So yeah, Melee Young Link is considered a full clone of Link. Toon Link is considered a semi-clone in Brawl. Same thing for Smash 4, and then Ultimate, I think they're both going to be labeled as semi-clones instead of being full clones. Actually, no, Young Link is still called a full clone of Link, and for Ultimate even. It's like, what is the point of that? Take Young Link and put a mask on him.
Give him one
Have
of
him-
mask powers. That'd be pretty cool.
Go Pokemon Trainer, Deku Link, Goron Link, Zora Link.
Oh, yes.
I've had plans to do this for the last several years, and I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I'm hoping to do it next year. I'm hoping to have it done next year.
I think that would be really cool. Like, I mean, Young Link made sense back in Melee when they're just, you know, again, if you're strapped for time, you don't have as big a pool of characters to pull from, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, let's give them like just slightly different movesets from Adult Link. Like, sure, great, go ahead. But now that we're, you know, so many more years here in the future, and I think like in terms of if you're just going to compare Young Link and Toon Link, Toon Link is a bit more unique. Like he stands apart. He's got his own series, you know, like the Spirit Tracks and Wind Waker, and you know it's got its own style. And I definitely think like there's a place for Toon Link. But if you've got like your Adult Link, and you know if you're just making Young Link a clone of him, well, like, he doesn't really bring anything to the table anymore.
Yeah.
I love your mask idea. I think that would be really, really cool. Again, that just adds something that makes that character distinct, or at the very least, like you could get rid of Young Link altogether and just pick from, again, the plethora of other really cool Zelda characters that are out there.
Right.
You know, I think you mentioned Midna, and I've just, you know, been kind of mulling over in my brain. I'm like, yeah, what would that look like? Because you could do kind of the Melee-esque like chic Zelda transformation between like Imp Midna and like, you know, humanoid Midna. Or you could have her like riding on the wolf. You could have her, you know, just floating in her little form, and you know her hair can do so many different things. Or if you use like, you know, the mask or whatever the heck it was called, the
Fused shadows.
Yes, yeah, the fused shadows. You know, like there's some cool stuff that you could do with that.
So cool, in fact, that we did a whole episode making a moveset for Midna.
Oh, there we go. See, I'll have to go and watch that. All right, because
we have her
that'd be
on
so
like
fun.
the Twilight Wolf the whole time, because that's how it is in Hyrule Warriors. Like it's not Wolf Link in Hyrule Warriors. It's like a whole nother
it's
Twilight
the
Wolf.
combo.
It's like,
they come together.
Precedent is set. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
But like the one thing I'll say in defense of Young Link is that he only came back for Ultimate, and Ultimate's whole deal was everyone is here. Every single character was brought back, even Pichu.
Mm-hmm.
And Young Link wasn't really changed at all from his Melee version, but it's also probably because Link was updated to being Breath of the Wild Link, so he had the remote bomb. He could fire a second arrow if you charged things right, or you picked up an arrow or something. I'm not too clear on how that worked. So Young Link was kind of like the Smash 4 Brawl version of Link still, while Link himself was changed up. And it's like, but if we get another Smash game and it's not just everyone is here part 2, which no fucking way does that happen again. Young Link either needs to go or be completely refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
Until Nintendo uses all that Illumination money to secure the rights for Ultimate 2.
Good luck with Square Enix.
Yeah, I know. They're
the reason why everyone is here almost didn't happen. Because they're just like, we want Cloud to be DLC again. Because they wanted all their stuff to be DLC. And it's just like, but they swapped for Cloud, and we'll give you 2 DLC slots. It's like, fine. And then they got a third, but Sora was a bonus fun deal.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, literally an elevator chat. Speaking of just
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Design,
the funny thing
mythology.
Yeah.
like everybody assumed Disney was going to be the problem with Sora. Disney was just like, sure, go for it. Nomura was the sticking point. He was the problem child. Which, thinking about it, not really surprising. It's Nomura. Oh boy.
Yeah, he's like, Sakurai-san, do you like zippers?
And belts. And belts.
And
What about
that's
a zippered belt? Ooh.
God.
Oh man.
What if
Now
Mario's...
you're
A little too
talking.
spicy.
What if Mario's hat had a zipper in it?
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Have you seen
What could
Donald
you
Duck's
put in
hat
there?
in Kingdom Hearts 2? That hat should not
Mhm.
exist. There's no way that this hat should physically exist. It is so stupid.
As soon as you said that, I just had a nightmare vision of Cappy, but like
Mhm.
they gave him a mouth, but it's a zipper, and like, oh hey Mario, blah, 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 blah. Like oh no.
Oh my god. Nomura
Oh.
must have worked on Splatoon 2.
Oh yeah.
Zipper.
That's right.
Giant ass fucking zipper.
Mhm. Mhm.
Why?
Oh my god.
I have a Zelda and Smash related question for you guys, because we were talking about stages and exploration being such a focus of Zelda. Is there any are there any locations that you feel are like criminally missing as far as stages go?
Not as badly as Mario is missing Bowser's Castle.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like, that's the most missed thing of any franchise. What the fuck?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I'm like, I can't believe that that's not in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't say if I know of anything that's like criminally missing, because again, like I don't have as much of the Zelda personal history that you three do. But
Mhm.
I know the things I want to see the most. Like I want to see Death Mountain as a stage. I want to see Zora's
Ooh.
Domain as a stage.
Yes. I love the Zoras.
Yeah, I think those would be two great locations. And then the other thing that comes to mind is the place with the big egg in Link's Awakening. I can't think of what it's called.
A windfish egg.
Yeah, like that
What is
that location,
Tal
that mountain.
Heights?
Telltale Heights,
Yeah.
Mount
Ayo.
Poland.
Like I think that'd be a fun location to see as a stage.
That would be really cool.
For sure.
I agree. Well, you mentioned Clocktown. That's a pretty good answer for
Yes.
something that's criminally missing. Especially if Skull Kid eventually makes it in. I think that there's a fan fervor there, and he has a pretty good shot, at least compared to most Zelda characters. Probably him and Impa, per a poll that Lister and I saw recently, are up there in terms of popularity. I'll preface this to go back and springboard back into the character discussion real quick. I will accept the next Smash, keeping the same characters that we currently have and not including any new characters, if they are rampantly renovated. If Ganondorf
I
is
would
finally
not.
cloned, yeah.
I want at
Yeah.
least 2 new Zelda characters, unless we're getting unless we're getting like a major cut of the roster,
Mhm.
like severely cutting down from like 80 something like 50 or whatever
Mhm.
the hell. Then okay, I'll accept
Mhm.
1 new character, but otherwise, Zelda needs
Mhm.
2 new characters stat.
Oh, I agree. And those 2 new characters in my mind. I mean, you slap a mask on young Link, and there you go. You have 3.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
No.
I still think
In-
Vati would make a really cool character. to
Oh
play.
yeah.
Back in the
wish
Brawl
character
days-
were still.
The character I cheered for the most was Vati. That's who I wanted back in Brawl the most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not
Why
even
is
sure which
actually-
Zelda character I want the most now. There's a strong amount that could be included that just haven't been.
And like they
Um,
act like it's like, well, that's only a one-off character. We don't want to add that. Like you did, Sheik.
Yeah, I mean, really, you throw any feasible, sensible argument out the window when you include Piranha Plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. And technically, most of the Fire Emblem characters up until the point Heroes came out were also one and done characters.
Well,
Uh,
at the least with Fire Emblem though, until Roy's game, they were all in the same Arcanea universe.
Hmm.
Or Altea, whatever the American Japanese version is like. Obviously Marth's games, but Thracia and Genealogy in Gaiden, they were all still in that same frame of the world. They were all still referencing each other. It wasn't until Roy that we actually got a break from that section of Fire Emblem.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Bachira from Skyward Sword would make a great character inclusion for a unique character.
Okay, I don't have a graphic for that character, so I can't.
He's a cool guy. That's okay. I mean, who would have known, right? But okay, maybe Fee then. Maybe Fee, right? There you go. I think we can bring Fee up.
There you go. You're nailing it right now. I think you're definitely the crowd is not booing you right
Can
now.
she?
Hey,
would
but
Fee
Fee's
be-
playable
is
in Hyrule
her-
Warriors.
Is Fee's special smash annoying her foes to death?
That's Navi. Actually, Navi
Liable.
comes out from behind Fee, and the two of them just like tag team. They just circle around the character.
No, that's the Zelda Sheik combo that we want.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
I
listen,
mean,
Master.
maybe that's the moveset is all the partner characters. So you get Midna, you get you get
Oh.
Navi, you get
Oh, that's poor Midna.
yeah, poor Midna.
Don't do her
Midna.
so dirty like that.
Don't do that.
Maybe-
Midna's actually a character, unlike the other two.
What if we like narrowed it down to
Battle.
like the fun, sidekick characters, like I can't remember his name, but the hat from
Eslo.
Minish Cap.
Eslo,
Yeah.
So Fee is wearing Eslo.
Nice. Now we're talking. I think we have something here.
Fee is wearing Eslo, and then Navi, Tattle, and Tail will all fly around.
What about consider this like just an all Legend of Zelda like fighting game?
I mean, listen, yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I want the all Zelda fighting game. I want the all Mario fighting game. I want a real all Pokemon fighting game, and not the nonsense that was Pokken Tournament. Give me the all Fire Emblem fighting game. Give me the fighting games, please.
Mhm.
Where's the Nintendo versus Capcom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so unbelievably cool.
God,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. Yeah.
That's its own
The,
video
the only
topic. I
problem
feel.
would be
Yeah, that could be
the
a
entire
separate
Nintendo roster
podcast
would just
entirely.
be Smash characters. It wouldn't be anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how all the latest Marvel games are like, oh, we're just going to include the people who've been in the movies because, that's what people are hyped about. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, what about the people who actually enjoy comics? It'd probably fall into the same problem.
For Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, there were only 2 characters on the Marvel side that were not in the MCU.
Oh my
Captain
God.
Marvel, who had a movie announced, and then Nova,
Yeah.
who we're still waiting on. Those were the only 2 characters. Infinite had a lot of issues.
Mm.
As far as stages are concerned, that besides Clocktown, that I think would be cool. I actually think that we got a fair. I mean, I am spoiled because I had basically what my number one wish for Zelda stage coming through back in Brawl with Pirate Ship.
Oh yeah.
Which has come through time and again. So I think we're really spoiled with that stage at the very least. And I think there's like Gerudo Valley's neat. The first Hyrule Castle is pretty cool. I think we can get a. I think it could stand for an update though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Mhm,
Give us a
mhm.
modernized version of Hyrule Castle. It doesn't have to be based off of Breath of the Wild, but can we have one that's not so polygonal?
Right. Breath of the Wild is a cool design, or maybe the Twilight Princess design, and have it in that realm. We could shuck Bridge of Eldin. I mean, it's just a bridge.
Yeah.
They wanted to go that route.
It's like, it might be an iconic location, but boy, is it boring.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
you'd
Bricks.
mentioned, John, about like how it is it's an iconic locale from Twilight Princess, and it is like it's in the intro sequence, as I recall, Elden Bridge. But like, yeah, I do kind of think it's kind of it's not that interesting visually of a stage. Like, it's a very cool, like a very memorable moment when you're jousting on the bridge in the actual game itself. But like, as far
a Smash
as like
stage, it just
how
doesn't hit the
compelling
same.
it is, it's
Yeah.
not quite the same to have like this big threatening King Bulblin charging across the bridge, like when you're like
And he
really
just-
not paying attention to him,
It's
and he
like,
just
Jump.
You just
Bomb.
backflip over him, and you're like, yeah, keep going. I'm busy punching the heck out of Captain Falcon
Yeah,
over here.
it
Yeah.
kind of loses its charm.
Bridge of Building as a Smash stage is good for one thing and one thing only. And that is Jigglypuff's Final Smash being permanent when you do the glitch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
True.
Oh,
yeah,
Jigglypuff, you
there
say.
is some glitch. I don't remember exactly how you make it work, but it has something to do with having Jigglypuff's Final Smash be activated when the bridge is repairing itself, I believe.
Mhm.
And then Jigglypuff will just be stuck in the giant size. It's like, okay. Well,
That's incredible.
I lose.
Well, guess I'll die.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to run off the edge.
Other stages, I mean, I think that a stage at the Great Deku Tree, whether it's inside or
Ooh,
outside, would be
yeah.
pretty cool. It's maybe my least favorite game in the series or close to it, but Phantom Hourglass would be a cool area to pull from for a stage.
That
Whether you're
temple
traveling
spend
online.
the entire game in.
Yeah, the Temple of the Ocean King. I mean, it kind of sucks, but it would be a cool stage. Or the Water Temple from Ocarina of Time.
Floating up, floating down.
Or just inside of Lord Jabu Jabu. How about that?
something TM from Link to the Past. Like
Yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Totally. I mean, that could be your
give me a
Hyrule
stage that
Castle, right?
transitions from Dark World to Light World.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Platforms
I'm-
change. Maybe some enemies can appear as hazards.
Let me just
Yeah,
let me just do a quick check because I actually again think Super Smash Bros. 2 might have your back on that one.
Hell yeah.
I shamedly stole an idea from Smash Bros. 2 for the Smash 2 Wiki. I keep telling myself at some point I need to go in and I need to redesign it so I'm not just literally stealing the layout. The Yoshi's Island stage is like, this is perfect. This is what I want. Please, I need this. So I just
Mhm.
may have taken it, but I
That is
need
too
to
good.
redesign it. I have a lot of things I want to fix on the wiki, and that's
Yeah,
one of them.
and we're gonna get to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, next year I'm planning to make some improvements.
New Year's resolutions.
I don't do
Yeah.
those.
I stopped when I realized it didn't work. I think I was like 14.
It's hard for me to take resolutions seriously when the people that I see like always hyping up and just like, well, it's 4 days in and I failed. Guess I got to try next year. It's like,
Yeah.
Oops.
what the fuck?
It's not like an all or nothing thing. Like, homie, I have ADHD. I've never bothered setting a resolution in the first place. It gets done when it gets done.
But people shame people who don't make them. It's like, Karen, fuck off.
If you wanted a specific location from A Link to the Past, it could be something like the Tower of Hera. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's a neat stage.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? What is it?
Mm-hmm. Hylian
Oh.
Skies.
I didn't know you posted something. It doesn't
No
have. There's
worries.
no image preview, so I don't know what it is.
Oh,
No
with a
worries.
look at the overworld, and yeah, it does transition to the Dark World. Neat. Yeah, I mean, if you can do a stage
Ooh,
like the recent Bomb
oh,
Forest in
yeah.
Smash,
I like how the background is the actual world map.
Oh, yeah, that is really cool.
I would be into that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, like, I do for this the one that we're looking at, or at least that I linked, was Hylian Skies from Super Smash Bros. 2, which is like a super cool stage, and yeah, it has the overworld for the light and dark worlds from A Link to the Past in the background. I do kind of think that it's similar in some regards to Skyloft because you're just kind of on this floating chunk of land with like locales kind of passing you by in the background, and generally like those kinds of stages like have been a little bit less interesting to me.
Yeah.
I think like really the in terms of stages, like for Smash, Melee actually has my favorite Smash stages just generally because I feel like they had to
unique.
yeah, they couldn't just like for by and large like a lot of those games were sort of in their transitory phase from 2D to 3D in a lot of different cases, and based on that, like, and also like Smash Melee came out fairly early in the GameCube's life cycle, so they needed to remodel things to be in the graphical fidelity of the time.
True.
So they
this is
couldn't
a
just
really
like
good point.
import in like
Yeah.
existing models. Like they really had to get creative and innovate a little bit on like locales that they would show in the GameCube graphical engine.
Yeah.
So to me, like I feel like that set of stages actually is probably the most interesting, and like there's fewer just like direct ports from other franchise or other games, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like I would like that more than I enjoy like the tour of Skyloft, for example. Like it's you're flying around, you're getting these dynamic angles of the background of Skyloft from as if you're maybe a bird or a loftwing, but like it's just kind of like
I mean,
I flew around Skyloft a whole bunch. Like I've seen it.
Boy, did we ever!
I love
at least for
flying
like
around
Skyloft,
Skyloft, especially in Skyward Sword.
at least for like Skyloft and Delfino Plaza, like they do stop at different locations, so you have
That's
a bit of
totally
a
true.
break, and like the layout will change a little bit. But then you have, I mean, I love Final Fantasy VII, but Midgar is Battlefield, and Northern Cave isn't much better. Like, yeah, they have fun backgrounds. Like Midgar has the mechanic with the summon materia, and then Northern Cave has the entire final sequence of the game being shown in the background with them going through the crater and all that stuff happening, which is really cool to look at a couple times, and then it just becomes, okay, I'm gonna fight now. I don't care what's happening in the background. I've seen it. I've played the game so many times. It's currently uploading on YouTube. Just gonna say that right there. But it's like
Let's start gaming, everyone.
Ultimate and Smash 4, like there are still some good stages they introduced, but they also really started adding in a lot of very samey kind of stages. You mentioned Melee was your favorite stages. I would say Brawl for me personally. Brawl has a lot more of my like top favorites. Pirate Ship,
Cannonbow,
Luigi's Mansion. It has some real trash stages like Cannonbow and 75M and Rumble
Jungle,
Falls,
whatever. Yeah,
those are all garbage tier bid bullshit. They're garbage tier bullshit. But it's also it's got a lot of great ones too.
Stages on the
but Melee has, I would say, the second best. Just like it's got a great new variety, like good platform arrangements. It's not just, oh, here's 3 or 4 battlefields.
Yeah. And I think Skyloft also was underwhelming because we already had that idea explored with Sunshine and Delfino Plaza so well in Brawl. Like I think very few people would argue that Skyloft is a better stage than Delfino Plaza. And it's from a tepidly received game.
I mean, both kind of were to a degree.
Both kind of were, but Super Mario Sunshine kind of got hit with the nostalgia stick by now, and it's at least a cult classic. Skyward Sword HD came out 10 years later, and it's like,
really? Is Sunshine considered a lukewarm game? Because I always loved that game.
At time of release, it was not liked very much.
Really?
People have gotten more warm to it over the years. I think probably about the time of Brawl, it was starting to be warmed up to.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Because I fell in love with it playing it in my dentist's office. I was like, wow, this is I hated going to the dentist, but at the same time I loved it because I was like, yes, I get to play Super Mario Sunshine, and it didn't have a memory card, so it basically became how fast can I speed run Super Mario Sunshine every time I go to the dentist's office, which wasn't often, but I got slowly, progressively better at the game until I finally was able to buy it myself as, a wee little child and actually save my progress.
I love Sunshine too. I think it's a great game.
The controls, and people didn't like FLUDD. And then Bowser Jr.'s whole Mama Peach thing, I don't think people liked at the time. But
the cheesy voice acting is
voice acting.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yep, that too.
Whoa, Mario.
It is funny, like I love the way that Sunshine, like I really enjoy it as a game. It is a little jank, like going back and playing it with our friend D, actually, like they had they had been playing it, and the controls are a little rough for sure. It's a little rough around the edges, especially coming back to it with modern flavor, I suppose.
Are you playing it on like the newer version or the original GameCube version? Because
We were playing it on the Switch, but I definitely agree. Like the GameCube version, it's better. It is
like
better.
the triggers have better,
The
like
analog
you actually
triggers.
have analog control,
Yeah.
whereas it's not just like is the water on or off. So I don't. That was the whole reason why I didn't buy the kind of updated version, because I'm like, you know what, it's just not the same.
Yep.
I think they may have patched that, or not with the Joy-Con, but you can at least play with the game controller.
No,
and get the same.
that's not the problem though, because like this is still
Okay.
click or not
On
click. There's
off,
no like
yeah.
Mhm.
You can't
no
like get like a
range.
little trickle
Okay.
of water, or because that's what
Mhm.
I really loved about the original game is you could control how much water was coming
Right.
out at one time, and
Yep.
so you just had finer control over what you were doing. Whereas now it's
Some
just
of
kind of
those
like
things, yeah.
on or off.
Yeah.
Well, like the Sandbird stages and whatever need that kind of precision.
Mhm.
Yeah, I watched a video recently about like the design ethos of Mario Galaxy coming off of the tails of Mario Sunshine, and like one of the like core ideas about Galaxy is they base it on spherical planets and gravity solely to alleviate one of the big problems of Sunshine for gamers and people playing the game was controlling the camera was not intuitive for a lot of people. And what works really well about being on a spherical planet is that like you can't get lost. The camera is like your friend. You don't have to control it. It can just follow you around. You don't have to do as much work to kind of like there's not as much cognitive like work, because some of the trickier parts as a kid for sure about playing Sunshine where there's like a hair turn that you have to make on a couple, like the Sandbird, like you have to be able to have the dexterity to at the same time change your perspective, move the camera, and also move Mario. So there's a couple hair turns, one of the Noki Bay secrets and one of the Rico Harbor secrets, as I recall. Like you have to do an angle, like a camera angle swap while you're moving, and that's hard for a lot of people. Actually, like dexterity wise, it's not easy.
I would be awful.
No, that makes sense.
I can't tell if Lister is still with us,
falling asleep
or if he's just completely locked in.
I want to.
You guys
Sunshine
not? Is my
too
camera not
these
moving for
days.
you?
I think they've learned a lot about design since then with cameras. It could be a better game.
Is this
I would adore it.
crashing? Because it looks like his camera's frozen.
Do you guys
he's
not
there.
hear me?
He's there. He's listening intently to our Sunshine sidebar on his
Our
Zelda
complete
podcast.
and utter tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, are we back? Can you hear me now?
Absolutely
Can
not.
you hear me?
We had an internet floopsie-doopsie, so that was fun. Anyways, you guys were talking about Mario Sunshine in my Zelda episode. I don't know what the hell is up with all that. Like, did you guys forget what this on topic was about? Because I mean, guys,
we went off topic.
Yeah.
Regularly do.
The
on
name
this
on
podcast.
topic is kind of a misnomer. We attempt to stay on topic. We don't know what to say there.
Sure do.
We have a lot of rants and sidebars and sidebars for the sidebars. And then we complain about Byleth for the 27th time and that one's in the single episode. It's a thing.
We've ranted about the final season of Game of Thrones multiple times on this podcast. for no
Have
reason.
we?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Let me just do it again. It sucked. There we go. There was not cohesive writing.
No.
Lord.
But at least they all got a Starbucks.
They did. They really did do the thing. Now, Zelda. Kellan, did
Temple
we hear
of
from
Time.
you about what stage you would
DS
like to
page.
see in Smash? 'Cause I don't think we heard from you about that.
Oh, I think I was the one who
Cavern.
Dongo's Cavern. I was the one who originally brought up the clock tower.
Oh, right, at the very beginning. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess technically it wasn't during your question section, but I did bring that one up.
No,
So,
fair enough.
I'll
I mean, it's
stick
a
by
great
that one.
choice.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love it. It's iconic.
Yes,
And
it is.
It deserves a
And
place.
Smash Flash 2 did something right. Now, if only they would finish the game. It's still
It's close.
It's
close.
still in beta. It has been in
Soon,
beta
TM.
since before Smash 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get Medley in the game?
Ooh, that would
Why?
Because she's
Just
in
so that
Hyrule
she
Warriors.
can like hold her lyre and redirect light at.
Yes.
Yeah. Or would
And
you
beat
rather
his
Medley and Makar as a duo? There you go. Or the Prince Kamali if you just want to get to the crux of it.
Who?
The Rito Prince who
Oh.
has the red pearl.
Yeah,
Didn't-
Medley-
he can just hug his
Medley as an
ball
assist
right there.
trophy would be good, I think.
Totally.
Like there's a shit ton of characters that they could give us as, playable
Mhm.
characters. Hey, you want some non-humans? How about Ruto? How about Darunia? How about literally any of the champions from Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they? Daruk, Urbosa. I clicked the wrong thing. Oops. Rivali. Where's Mifa on my thing? Fuck. I don't know where there she is. Look, there
That's
they all
what
are.
Link was
Right there.
saying 100 years ago.
Like, any of them could be good. Like, personally, I picked Mifa because, one, Lance user.
I think she's the most important one, arguably. just
Yeah,
from screen time.
of the four, she has the most connection, not necessarily to the story, but to Link himself. Like, none of the other ones have a connection to Link. Or both has a connection to
You could
Zelda.
say that again.
And then Rivali's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Daruk is he's fine. Daruk is fine.
Mhm. Oh, you could say that
Well, like,
again.
Like, I think it'd be cool to have, like, Mifa and Darunia representing Zora and Goro, the two other major races of all of Zelda, but also having one to represent Breath of the Wild, one representing Ocarina of Time, and if you want to represent the Rito, well, as somebody else mentioned, there's Medley
Or
to Jake's chagrin.
just I
Like-
yeah. There's numerous characters you can pull from. Even some of the other Links and Zeldas wouldn't be that bad. Like if they threw Ravio in, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
Ravio
Robbie would be pretty cool.
Mhm.
A Link Between
Mhm.
Worlds, and somehow it'd be really complicated to figure out how to make the A Link Between Worlds portrait mechanic
Mhm.
work with Smash, but
Yeah.
if you could make that gimmick, if you could make a compelling fighting moveset out of that gimmick, I think that would be very fascinating.
That would be
Well,
really
Yeah.
cool.
You
Man,
can
I
you
don't know.
do at least something with it, at least a move or a taunt or something.
I mean, it could
Victory
be
poses,
like
I mean.
it could be
Figure out a
kind of like
stage.
a counter, but instead of the counter,
That's
it's more
what I
like
was
a
thinking.
dodge.
Like
maybe
you kind
maybe
of
that's
flip.
his dodge. He just like flips into the painting mode.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, his moves. I mean, A Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds have introduced a number of different items to the Zelda series. And Ravio's a shopkeeper for most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Pull in stuff from his shop.
Sand
Fire
rod.
rod, sand rod. Yeah. The one umbrella rod, propeller rod. He's a purveyor of rods. Bring them all in.
Okay.
The rental mechanic. I'm sure you could figure out like a rupee mechanic. Like I don't know if any of you guys have played Rivals of Aether, which is like also like a Smash Brothers like game. They have like
It's Smash but hard.
a mechanic for their Shovel Knight character is kind of like collecting money and doing stuff with that. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have
Anyway.
characters that have resource management gimmicks to them. Steve being the biggest example of it, but Hero has his MP meter. Olimar has his Pikmin, and
Mhm.
I know, Jonno, I think you've made a few on the wiki. I recently finally created the Savvy Stylist from Style Savvy. I made that character a Smash moveset, and they have a whole resource management system as well. Like, it's definitely something that can be done. Although I think if any Zelda character is going to have a mechanic involving, the spending of rupees, I think
Tingle.
we all know it's got to be Tingle.
that's big.
Limpa, baby.
Like that's what his whole game is about: getting
That's fair.
rupees.
I actually wish we got that game in the States. I mean, you have to play it through importing or other nefarious means, and it's not bad. It's bizarre. I think if Tingle were released, it's kind of like how Wind Waker was not celebrated by Western audiences when it first came out, and is now a major player in the overall Zelda compendium globally. I think Tingle, he's still a bizarre character and whatnot, but he would have been received a whole lot better had it been a little later.
Yeah.
In gaming history. I think a lot of the hatred for him was.
The hatred for him was from people. How do I put this?
They were.
We know who they are.
Yeah. We know. Well, I mean, another side rant that we went on this podcast in the past multiple times was calling out J.K. Rowling for being a TERF. So we can say that people who hated Tingle to the extent that they did back in the 90s and 2000s were basically raging homophobes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do I think Tingle is a bit of a weirdo? I mean, have you
when
seen
he
what
enslaved his
wears?
cousins in the Wind Waker? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but the vitriol that people post online, it's like, dude, get a life.
It's not like that. It's not that deep. It's a video game character.
Not, and considering some of the freaking weirdos that were in later Zelda games as well that didn't receive that ire, like the two carnival guys from Twilight Princess, or Uku, also from Twilight Princess.
Where's Birdo's ire?
If you look hard enough, I'm sure it's out there. But that's the thing too. I think there was like a journalistic hate campaign, like from IGN and other companies at the time out here in the U.S. Tingle is not the best Zelda character, but he's iconic to the series.
There for a time, he was one of the more speculated characters for Smash.
He would have a neat moveset. I mean, you can mix it up with the rupee management system, as you said, or just pull from his map making and merchandising thing. You could do something with it. It wouldn't be the worst thing. He's not my top choice by any means, but I wouldn't. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad with that inclusion. Just be like, better than Piranha Plant.
Better than Dompe.
I don't know about that. No, just kidding.
Better than Girahim. Better than Zant.
Girahim is another one. Notice how people actually like him.
Girahim is weird because like the brawl in Smash 4 days, a lot of it was just like, oh, here's a character from newest game. Let's all say this character should be in. It's like, okay, you guys did that for Zant, and that's a lame choice. Now you're doing it for Girahim, who's like slightly better. It's like, no, neither of these are good choices. What are you on about? Stop the drugs.
I think Zant was done so dirty in Twilight Princess. Like, when they, when you first get him in, see him in the game, you're like, damn, who's this scary looking motherfucker? Like, he seems so intimidating.
Yeah. And
then they're like, let's turn him into a clown so that, plot twist, the real villain the whole time was Ganon. And it was like, really? Okay.
And it's like they act like we can't have a main Zelda game without Ganon, but it's like,
yeah.
We have, though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Vati. Or, as Jake mentioned, the Oracle games with Varin and Onox.
That is one of my few little baby nitpicks as a longtime fan of Zelda with A Link Between Worlds, is you have Yuga, who is an interesting villain, kind of bizarre and whatnot, but he has this whole paint mechanic and it's like, okay, but then it's like, oh, Yuga and Ganon used together and now you fight Ganon.
It's some real Mario and Luigi RPG bullshit where it's like, all right, we're going to fuse Bowser with whoever the main villain is. Here's Bowletta. Here's
Bowsette. Oh, wait.
Yeah, well. It's like, what
Dark
the fuck?
Bowser.
Yeah.
Dark Bowser was really lame.
A Link to the Past, kind of did it too, where Aghanim was just like, actually, I am Ganon. But
yeah, I wish that wasn't that. Like, Aghanim himself is a fun design.
I think Aghanim himself is a fun design. Would be an interesting, if we were to ever to get a Smash fighting or a Zelda fighting game, or maybe a Smash Echo Fighter, creating a new Ganon moveset and then having Aghanim being an echo of that would be kind of sweet.
Or Aghanim could be the magic version of Ganondorf.
Sure. I do think Aghanim himself, like, I think he as a character, like, I give him a bit of a pass for being that, oh, actually I was Ganon, because he's, like, the progenitor of that. Like, he was...
Fair.
Like, before, like, they've pulled that gimmick out a few times, like, Zant was the big bad up until, like, the very... I think the most egregious case is Zant being the big bad up until he's not.
Yeah.
In Twilight Princess.
They just kind of pulled the rug out from underneath him. It was just like, and
you
actually,
had this
no.
really interesting characterization of this, like, very warped, twisted character, and then, like, you know, you kind of take the teeth out of that by being like, oh, actually, it was the dwarf himself.
Yeah, actually, Gandalf was manipulating him the whole time. So, like, really?
And we're just going to remove him from the picture before the final climax of the game. Like, okay.
And then Skyward Sword took it to another level. It's like, oh yeah, we've got this big bad Demise, whatever you want to call him. And it's like, yeah, not only does he kind of look like Gandalf, but also when you beat him, he places the curse and says, like, by the way, I'm going to come back every 100 years or so, but I'm going to be Ganondorf instead. It's like, he's literally he's the original Ganondorf, essentially. It's like, cool. We didn't need that explained. It's fine.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird design choice there. Just to, as you say, be like, oh, but now we have to explain why Ganondorf always reappears. It's like, oh, okay.
You don't. Like, you guys can't even settle on a consistent timeline.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I could definitely go on about, like, the Zelda canon for sure, and like what are different compelling twists. Like, I feel like that also merits its own on-topic episode. If it's not Smash related, it's at least like tangentially related.
We've done that before too. We talked about Pokemon and
we've had ideas for things to try and do, like, outside of just Smash, but time.
Yeah.
Oh, Wind Waker. I mean, Tetra would even be a good choice.
Great choice.
Speaking of twists, Tetra being Zelda.
Yeah, that was pretty decent.
Oh god, that reminded me when we did the Toon Link episode. I had to watch. I watched full LPs of Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks, and with Phantom Hourglass was so much pain. Oh my god, watching that game sucked.
Playing it was even worse back in the day, to be honest.
I remember feeling so stressed out every time I had to navigate the temple. I was like, oh no.
I'm very glad that the LP I watched literally sped through those sections. Like, thank you.
I have a bad confession that I never got past, like, the first dungeon of that because I just could not.
Yeah.
Like, coming to Zelda, like, Zelda handheld Zeldas for me have always been button based. Going to the stylus controls, it was never intuitive enough for me, and frankly, Phantom Hourglass as a game was never compelling enough to me to.
Phantom Hourglass has a puzzle where I don't remember what the clue is or whatnot, but the solution is to close your DS so you copy from one picture to another, so that you have.
Oh, that's so cool!
You copy a map. Which,
yeah,
it's a cool idea, but nobody figured it out. The way that the majority of people actually solved it, but they just got frustrated. They closed their DS and then did something else for all. And they opened up their DS and it was like it's solved. It's like, huh? What? What do you mean I solved it?
That's so funny. It's
like,
the same
what?
kind of thing as, like, evolving
Inkay
into Malamar by holding your DS upside down when you're leveling up. Like, it's that kind of shit that it's like, yeah, it's gimmicky, but it's so cute, and it's like nobody else is doing it like that, right? Like, Nintendo's like always kind of doing dumb wacky things.
I swear to God, that evolution is the most convoluted bullshit.
Which, sorry, Runegrigus?
Yeah, Runerigus.
Runegrigus? I don't even remember.
Galarian Yamask.
Yeah. I
like,
can't remember.
You have to have lost, like, X amount of experience or X amount of health, and then you have to walk under a certain arch in the wild area.
What?
How
do they expect people to know this?
I had to look it up.
Stupid.
I so badly wanted. I really like Runegrigus' design, or however you say it, or however it's spelled.
I it looks it looks cel shaded, which doesn't fit the rest of the world design, which is so weird
Oh,
to
yeah.
me. It's like if you just had the same art style as everything else in this game, you would be fine. But no, you look weird.
Even in the anime, it looks like. I'm looking up the screenshots now.
Oh, God.
Okay, so we went on the Pokemon tangent as well as the Super Mario Sunshine tangent.
Yes. Where's the
Um,
Fire Emblem
Sorry.
tangent?
My bad.
Yeah. I think that we kind of are making good progress in time, though, and we've talked a fair bit about. So
I mean,
overall, I think
the point is there are a lot of characters that they could add to Smash besides just Link or a Triforce Builder. And sure, some of the other good options are Triforce Builders, like we mentioned Beastkin, we mentioned Tetra. They would be good options. If they really want to be weird, they could do like Toon Ganondorf or what do you want to call them? Toy Link, Dream Link from Link's Awakening. That's an option. There's Hilda from Link Between Worlds. There's Linkle. There's a unique version of Link for you.
Yeah.
She's got her crossbows. There are so many options they can do.
King Harkenian, Guanum, the guy from the Ruby. I think you need more rubies.
Sure. But like,
lamp oil, rope, and bombs.
There are so many who's we legitimately could get a Zelda-only fighting game. I mean, technically, we can do with Hyrule Warriors. Not a fighting game, but it's a Zelda crossover with a lot of great characters. Some odd choices, but there's a lot of great picks in that. I don't know why Smash is just refusing.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if it might be some of the homogeneity in the character selection might be from outside production, like Miyamoto's storied involvement with Paper Mario. Maybe he's as an executive producer Zelda, like, oh, we don't need to do that, Sakurai, and then Nintendo's execs are like, yeah, just put the next Fire Emblem character in instead. He's like, okay.
It's like, I like Fire Emblem, but Zelda's being underrepresented and Fire Emblem is being poorly represented. Like, enough of the Marth versions. We all know the next team is going to give us a Leer, which is going to be another Marth. It's like, great.
They may even have literally Marth in the moveset.
I'm betting on it.
With the way that, and we can get the Tokyo Mirage Sessions Persona Marth as well.
Actually, that's Crom.
Is it? No, Marth isn't. No.
No,
is
Marth is not.
Oh, well, no thank you then. Oh, Sheeta's in the game. Okay.
Yeah. Crom, Sheeta, Tharia.
Tiki.
But not as one of the playable characters.
Yeah, she's just like in the Soundgarden or some weird shit.
I think Kane is one of them.
Random choice when you don't have Marth. Another random choice when you don't have Marth. Rise, the main character of Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. Okay, so let's round this discussion up though. I think we're on the same page. Zelda needs to be better represented in Smash, particularly in the character selection. I would say, whatever, Young Link, Toon Link, whatever, knock yourselves out. I don't care if they come back or not, just bring us other characters who are independent of the Triforce unless they're something cool like Tetra.
Yeah.
Boom. But to round things out, I think we mentioned kind of stages. Let's go around the room one more time. If you could pick one stage and one character from Zelda to be in Smash that's not presently in, who would it be?
I was gonna say give it like your top 1 to 3,
Lister.
like up to 3. Is what I was gonna say because it's so many good choices.
Yeah, let's do it that way then. Your top 1 to 3 characters then. Who do you want to see the most? One last little go around the room.
For characters, I'll start. For characters, I think my top. I would love to see our favorite little bratty wind mage, Vadi. I think that he is in, if not my top 1 choice, at least in my top 3. I think his chances are distinctly lower than they were in the Brawl days. He hasn't come back in a while, but he's got a lot of pizzazz for being a pixel, like showing up primarily in the pixel games, like having like both kind of
Four swords, adventure, and Minish Cap is all he's got.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
it? Really?
that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like I think it would be cool.
He just
He's
sticks
also,
out to me more. I guess he made enough
Yeah.
of an impression that I'm like,
Oh,
what a
yeah.
fun character.
Yeah, it's just he's got a cute design. Like he's got the title of being the Wind Mage. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff that can be done with him as a character. Next, I would say Medley. No, I'm just kidding.
Prince Komali, yeah.
Prince Kamali. Yeah, no. I do think like some form of like a champion would be cool, or one of the sages, like whether that's Impa, who is kind of like almost a sure thing if it's not for Sheik. Like I think that Impa would be kind of the character that gets there, but I do kind of think like one of the sages / champions / main focus NPCs would be cool to see. Granted, I think it's tough to pick one out of
Right.
six
thing that's
sages
hard
and
with the champions and the sages
4
both
champions.
is that there's only 2 sages that I'd say there's only 2 sages that really feel like it's me, because Impa's not is Impa a sage? I can't
In
remember.
Ocarina of Time, yeah, she's
Okay. Then I say like there's 3 options for sages. I feel like between her, Darunia, and Ruto, and then the 4 champions.
Maru,
I mean, I guess.
Saria.
Playable?
Yes.
All right,
Totally.
Eric. We finally got that one in there. But like of the 4 champions, it would feel weird to me to like pick one of them. But at the same time, you can't have all 4 of them because that's too many. So that's a hard one. Like the only way that I really see that part working is like kind of how like I mentioned before, one Goron, one Zora. That's a good way to balance between both those groups and it not feeling weird. But
Right.
I agree. Other than that,
Yeah, I think like some form of champion, and then and Vadi would be my 2. I don't think I have a third one. Just some form of a rework of the existing cast members.
one sage, one champion, Vati. There's your 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick a sage and a champion. I just think like you were saying about Ruto and Darunia, like having some of the non-human rep in there would be cool. Wolflink maybe, I guess, would be number 3. Wolflink and Midna.
There you go. Raru, Kapora, Gabora.
Kapora, I was thinking
Oh my
the same.
gosh.
Same.
So anyway, those are mine.
Sweet. Okay, who's next?
Well,
How about you,
I could
Kellan?
go.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, like previously mentioned, I'm Vati's champion. I really think that he would be a fun character to play as. My next choices would be, I think, like definitely Azora. Like those guys have been in the games for a long time now, and as far as I'm aware, there's no Zora representation in Smash. So
There's not.
which it's surprising because I don't know, they're really cool. Like fish people with there's literally fighting moves in the games. Like if you play like when you wear Mikao's mask in Majora's Mask, and you've got your little like first of all you've got your little scale boomerangs, you've got like your arm swords. Like there's already moves there for things you could do as a Zora.
Yep.
So whether that's Mikao or Mifa or like the Zora Queen from Twilight Princess, like there's characters that you could draw from to play that. Or your idea of young Link with the masks on, like whatever. I think it would be dope as hell. So that's my pick number 2.
Dunk on him, yeah.
And then my third one would probably be Midna, because again, like she's just a fun impish character. She's got a lot of fit check. She's just got a lot of potential versatility there. Like again, going with like either her imp form, her humanoid form, her riding a wolf. Like you've got options.
Yeah.
So I think those would all make fun, playable fighting game characters.
Quick question for you before we move on to the next person. Which game is the best Zora design? Because they've changed a little bit over the games.
Yes.
Good question.
Ooh. I did really like Twilight Princess's Zora designs.
All right.
Cool pick.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean-
I probably go Breath of the Wild for me because you have like a few different fish designs with them. Because like you've got like most of them are kind of like the standard, like okay, we got like a shark body on the back of our head, but there's one guy that's like a whole big manta ray head. It's like fuck yeah, it's not manta ray, it's more like kind of like a hammerhead shark, kind of or something like that. It's like that's awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm. The I thought the guys in Twilight Princess were kind of neat because like their fins being their hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there was some variation in there. Like some of them had slightly different fins, if I remember correctly. And obviously, like the Zora Queen looked distinct from all of the other Zoras,
Right.
and like their kind of fancy jewelry and armor was pretty neat. Because in the earlier games, like the models just you couldn't throw as much detail on there, so they were just humanoid fish people.
Yep.
And yeah, Breath of the Wild is neat, but I think like Twilight Princess has a special spot because that was where they really like fleshed out the Zora design for the first time, in my
Right.
opinion.
I like the Zoras in A Link to the Past.
Oh, yeah.
The River Zoras.
The little river Zora.
I was like, wait, pardon?
And the Queen Zora in A Link Between Worlds.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the King Zora in Ocarina of Time.
Oh gosh,
Okay.
yeah.
Where all of Hyrule's drinking water goes under his butt. I mean, just into Lake Hylia. What a guy. Anyway.
Anyway, for me, I have a 7 that I'm like been mentally being like, what's the 3 though? What's the 3 of the 7?
Mhm.
But I think like Midna has got to be number 1 for me.
Mhm.
Great character from Twilight Princess, popular, and also just the fact that like they would have we already know they have a unique battle style because they're gonna be on the wolf. So like okay, we've said before we can have more quadruped fighters. We've got Ivysaur and that's it. I think still. Well, okay, Duck Hunt. I forgot about Duck Hunt. So we got Ivysaur and we got Duck Hunt. It's like all right, so Midna would be our 4th or 3rd, I guess. I mean, I can't count. She's on the wolf. Number 2, I'm going Skull Kid. Love the guy. Majora's Mask is great, as we all know this. You could just do some real weird, trippy shit with that guy. Number 3 is breaks one rule where I said no Triforce wielders, but keep Beast Ganon again. Beast Ganon.
True.
I want that. Now, if Beast Ganon was the only new character we got from Zelda, then I would not be okay with it because it's like really a Triforce wielder. But if it was Beast Ganon and another character like Midna or Vati or Skull Kid or Gorons or whatever the fuck, then like this works for me.
Mhm. Cool overall list. I would enjoy any of these characters for sure. The first, I think my number 1 character that I want from the Zelda franchise at this junction, there's a number of really great picks, and any one of them with rare exception that we've discussed today, I'd be pretty okay with. But my first choice would be the Carpenter brothers from Kakariko Village.
Naturally.
Second is Dompe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Third is Uku and Uku Jr. as a duo. Okay, so
These are some great selections. You're
Truly
Yeah,
the
it's so
underdog
much.
votes. I love it.
I think at this point my number 1 is also Midna. I mean, it's probably no surprise because Zantok and I crossed over with the character a lot on this podcast already. She was the winner of our first Tournament of Champions in season 1. Too much contention, but it was a difficult episode to get through since we didn't have a guest on to tiebreak. It was speaking of lessons learned, but she's a worthy winner. We did the Smashtopia episode in season 2 for her, and realized there's a whole lot you can do just between the wolf and the hair and the Twilight magic alone. I think Midna in imp form on a wolf, whether that be a Twilight Wolf or Wolf Link, would be, and I think it'd probably be a Wolf Link in Smash, but either which way, I'm down for. Secondly, I mean, we're not really breaking any new ground here, but Skull Kid is probably my number 2. Yeah, it's a little more nebulous, right? You are dealing with a looser orientation of dark magic here, but there's a lot that compared to Midna, but there's a lot you can still do with it. And I feel like as a longtime Smash fan and a passionate Smash fan and Zelda fan, I am a big fan of Skull Kid being in Smash because of the community around the character, who's pushed for him for years. And also that major tease from Sakurai during the Ultimate release cycle that pissed us all off with the moons.
He baited us hard with several characters in the assist trophy reveal orders.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Totally. Isaac later on. Ridley in Smash 4 was bad.
Oh, that was rude. The Ridley tease in Smash 4 was just straight up rude.
Yeah. At least he ripped out the Band-Aid for Waluigi right away, right? And he's like, some characters will still be assist trophies. I was like, damn it. we get Bus Driver Waluigi in the next game.
If he is not in the next one, he's never happening.
I will be so... I will be very sad. I'll be as irate at a video game as I can possibly be. Which is pretty irate, actually. My third choice, I would say take Ganon. I think there's a lot of cool stuff to do with that character. But just for the sake of saying, let's go a little off the beaten path here. After discussing it today, maybe Ravio actually. Wild card third peg, just for the hell of it.
That is a wild card. Other than the existing wild cards, Dompe and
the
Carpentry Brothers.
and Aku,
Error.
Error.
Uncle Error. Your uncle from A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
The Skeleton King from A Link to the Past, as he said. Yeah.
A random like.
Yeah, even up there with Piranha Plant would be a generic like. So.
Yeah.
It could be a Piranha Plant Echo if you think really hard about it. I've seen likes like way too much on like Twitter feeds lately, so.
Anywho.
You get a viral tweet, you get to advertise,
I think that just about does, though. We talked... I mean, first of all, we came to the quick conclusion that, no, Smash is not done right by The Legend of Zelda. It's done very poor, actually. I've like, in Brawl they did great. Melee and Brawl was like, alright, you guys are doing good by Zelda. After that, it's like, okay, but what the fuck happened? Why did we fall off this train? Give us some new stages. Give us Clock Town. Give us Death Mountain. Give us Link to the Past stage. Give us some new characters, whether that's Skull Kid or Midna or Vati or Unopo,
or
something.
Reminds me, my number one stage pick that I never expressed.
Yes.
Probably Great Plateau. Just the actual Great Plateau at
Just
this
the
point.
actual Great Plateau.
Shut
And
the
not
tower. Turn it into a cool touring stage, and there you go. You get your worthy Delfino Plaza sequel.
All right, there you
I don't know
go.
about that. I feel like it has a little bit less visual interest, but
Get a stone talus up there and some
yeah.
shooting at you from
Oh
it.
my gosh.
It'll call it a day.
Throwing rocks around, or you're fighting on a stage and suddenly the stage gets up and just wallops you too, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You're fighting on a stage, and all of a sudden it's the Talus.
The stage fights back.
The stage
Make it
is
a-
the Talus. Yes.
I would love
that
that.
would be so funny.
You can ride the
Oh.
dragons through all of Hyrule. Then. That would be.
The dragons would actually just be like,
Ooh.
even if we did just get Great Plateau Tower back as a stage for the next team, we get nothing else from Breath of the Wild. My one wish had the dragons be in the background.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have them be playable. In the
Well-
spirit of this conversation.
That's. I don't think that's
You
working.
could cycle through the elements, just, blast the heck out of people.
If Ridley is too big, the dragons in Breath of the Wild are too big.
Nonsense. Taking up the entire screen just without Final Smash? Nah, nothing wrong about that.
They never
Okay,
said that.
Jigglypuff. God.
At least you get some nice music when the dragons came on.
It's true.
All right. Well, I think at that point, it's time to wrap things up. Any final things that we want to say before we go about this topic, or their time on the episode that's not related to Jonno?
I would just say, like, I always love chatting about Zelda. So thank you for inviting me on, and I guess I don't know. Stay tuned for my 6-hour rant on why I hate Skyward Sword. But
same time next week work for you?
oh God,
That's so
no! I have final exams to write. I ain't got time to rant.
It's your final exam about Skyward Sword.
Oh God.
Oh my God, it could be.
It's on renewable energy, which if you could like hook me up to, like use my frustration to power a light bulb, it would be incandescent.
I mean, Link does get those spirit orb thingies multiple times in Skyward Sword. Or was that Twilight Princess? I don't remember which game that's in, but it happens multiple times and I don't like it.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah. Like there were like the spirit beasts or whatever they were in Twilight Princess, but it was
this
fucking
area.
Skyward Sword
yeah.
with the most, like, I was stress sweating through the what were they called, the Silent Realms?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Make that a stage.
No.
Silent Realm and just put Groose in there somewhere.
And he just fires the Groosinator randomly.
Yeah, I'm sorry for what happened with him kind of being the progenitor of Ganondorf's lore, but
Groose?
you went and lose him. Yeah, apparently he's heavily hinted at as the first Gerudo.
Huh. Did not realize. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it was queued up on my YouTube subscription. So.
This sounds
That's
like
funny.
some Did You Know Gaming bullshit.
Like, other than his red hair, I really don't see.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
Yuga
there's
has
an
red
aesthetic
hair.
design, but
Actually,
sure.
Yuga probably is a Gerudo. Actually, now I think about it. Looking at their face. I retract
Yuga
that
is a
statement.
friend of mine. Yeah. I like painting with Yuga. I want that to be a video game.
Nope. Jacob, what you got?
Well, also just thanks to me. Always a pleasure to talk about Zelda, all things Smash, and all things off and on topic. It's always fun. I think, like, particularly about Zelda, I'm also pretty passionate about the Zelda series, so it's a fun one for me to talk about. And yeah, I think that as far as like any closing thoughts and closing remarks is, yeah, if anyone ever or from Nintendo interested in just one small gamer's opinion, like it'd be really neat to have some more diverse locales explored in the stages representing the Zelda series. So yeah,
You just got blocked on Twitter by Sakurai. Good job.
shoot,
Like
darn.
I
like the
definitely
Lanayru
tweet a
Desert.
lot these days. So
Mhm. With the robots from Skyward Sword on the ship. There you go.
the sand ship, that'd be cool.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Honestly. Okay.
All right. Well, with that, I'd say we can go ahead and wrap up here. Next time on Super Cast Brothers, it's another Smashtopia episode, which means we're making a moveset. And I'll tell you this about the character. They're round, and they have a stick. And that's all I'm going to tell you about them.
Ooh.
We'll see you all for that one.
Suspense.
That'll be interesting.
Bye.
Goodbye.